Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Shakti Cabral Speaks. It's Shakti Cabral and myself, Megan Buchman. We come on here not weekly, but every few weeks at least to learn from Shakti, to have conversations, to have interesting discussions. And today we've brought a really cool topic and a very important one as well. I'm going to summarize it in my words, and then I'm going to invite Shakti to do the same. It's really about the illusions in the spiritual space, in the work that Shakti does, and the work that I also do, sort of the guiding energies that might not always be what you think they are, potential pitfalls, and maybe even sharing a few stories. Not from a
Mm.
place of fear, but just from an empowering place. That's my little recap. What would you like to start with on that, Shakti, or how would you summarize it?
Yeah, it was really about learning how to navigate those realms safely because, energy is everything, and there are beings that are seen and unseen. And just because you have an experience of another being, what you might think is a sentient being, um, enter into your realms and your reality doesn't mean it's got your best interests at heart. So these are, we're talking about a few tools of navigation, how to navigate those realms, because, as on Earth, there's, many areas, many alleyways, just because it's an alleyway, and it's lit by a street lamp doesn't mean you're going to walk down it because you don't know what's down there, and there are good areas, and then areas where you just don't want to be. And it's the same in the energetic world, the spiritual realms,
Mhm.
where people end up in places having conversations and communications with beings that don't have the best interests at heart, but they don't know what they're talking to. So illusionists.
Definitely. Yeah, people who you call them energetic pranksters or manipulators or sort of vampiric.
Yeah, or vampiric.
Yeah.
Mm, mm. Also parasitic energies.
Um, so I think a good place to start would be what are the most likely signs or what could you be looking out for if you're, let's say, if you're a spiritually open person, you're on your journey, you might be a few years down the line, you might just be starting. What could you flag as something here could be amiss in terms of how much I've opened and who I'm connecting to? What should people look out for?
Okay, so something that becomes an energy drain really quickly, so your energy just drops. And all of a sudden, since you started interacting with that being or even that person, your energy just goes down, right? That's a surefire sign that something's not quite right there. Um, of course, you've got to look into your own psyche and think, is this, am I operating here from a place of fear? Like you need to be doing your shadow work, your inner work. Okay. But say beings that all of a sudden they'll just like latch into your sexual energy, or they'll latch into your solar plexus, or they'll just go straight for your mental energy, and you might get a sense of that happening somewhere in your body. Be aware of that, because beings that really have your best interests at heart do not take energy, they give, right? They express, they expand, and you feel it in your heart center and it feels good. Now, you may have pain in your heart from trauma, from suffering. That's something that you'll want to work through, right? To clear. And that will take as long as it takes. And you have to learn patience to do that. Um, but otherwise, that just because you perceive something, because you're becoming psychically aware, does not mean that that being is good. And there are beings that will appear to be light, but they're not. They're vampiric, and they take from you. They'll um, they'll give you information in a way that manipulates, that tells you what to do, rather than giving you what you've asked for.
Mm.
So guiding energies, when you're asking them for solution and when you're asking them for inspiration, they usually give you that, and it has an uplifting effect on your psyche. You feel really good. It's not a adoration of your ego. It's not like I'm magnificent and I'm this and I'm that and I'm blah. It's more of a respectful feeling of peace. Now, this is one of the reasons why I work and I teach from the elements, from the sun, the stars, you know, the element of water, the element of air, the element of matter, the element of fire, because it's an expression of source. It gives life. And you can't really go wrong with that. When you're, you know, obviously you have to respect fire, you have to respect water, you have to, you know, too much of anything is not good for you. But when you're working with the elements, they don't want something from you. There's no sacrifice. There's no offering. There's no nothing that you have to give. Now, there's nothing wrong with, you know, giving love to a tree, you know, or honoring the water or honoring Mother Nature. You know, that's a beautiful thing to do. And when it comes from a place of love. But when you're told to do something that was out of your scope of interest, I'd question that. When you're told things that you didn't know or ask for, and you're guided to do things for something, like for to get something, like maybe it's sexual, maybe it's greed, maybe it's you're just being told to do stuff that hadn't entered your mind. Question it. Like, always ask. You need to ask the right questions, you know. And I've mentioned this before. Always ask, are you of organic love-based living light? 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
And if in doubt, ask 9. Right. But if you're working with the sun and the stars and the pure nature of light at its highest and greatest vibration of organic love-based living light divinity, you are making a statement. You are making the rules. And it's different then. But don't just take something on and into your field that has just arrived and you haven't investigated it. Always investigate it.
Yeah. The doing it more, asking more than one time was not something I had on my radar at all until we started working together. And I remember we've been in processes before where I asked the first time and it was sort of like, yeah, it's fine. And the second time it was sort of like, it's fine. And the third time I didn't get an answer when I asked, like, are you, you know, for my own good, are you, you know, highest, purest light, etc. And that really surprised me, almost this sneakiness that I didn't expect, because it could be, I mean, my point of view from this, or like how I got into the spiritual world, was like, this is such a gift. This is such a wonderful thing. This is the best thing ever. And this is the answer to all my problems. And I'm just so excited. And, you know, everything that is esoteric must be good, because it was good for me at the beginning, but I had to refine that so much. And I'm still having to refine that so much to understand that it's not enough to just, you know, be able to speak to some kind of a being or have some kind of a connection. You have to vet it. You have to really have your wits about you to make sure that what it is that you're connecting to is, yeah, for your best interest. And I was very naive, and I think a lot of people are, because it's confusing if it's like you discover this thing and it's exciting and it's transforming you and it's giving you so much, but then there's a shadow side to it as well, which I think, as you also mentioned, like if you're not doing your own shadow work, you're more susceptible. or you can very easily go into this egoic, I'm a channel. This is what you said before the call before we started recording. You're like, I am a channel and all things come through me, and I am this important role. You are setting yourself up, or you're putting yourself at risk in that sense, because it's not really pure anymore. It's kind of, it's
Yeah, if
more
it
of a
comes from an
breeding
egoic
ground.
place, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I work like that, as a channel as well sometimes. But I learned through my own blood, sweat, and tears as well. I historically taken on energies that didn't have my best interests at heart. And I had to work very hard in releasing myself from them. And then I've seen this in other people as well. Like you remember I've been doing this for, over 33 years now. So all of this kind of stuff happened at the beginning, and that was my training. And it just because I went through it doesn't mean to say that you have to and everybody else does. There are warning signs, and there are people that will speak from experience.
Yeah.
And those who've had these experiences that they've recovered from will probably go on to share those experiences in their own teachings. Right. But it's better, if you see a stumbling block and you avoid it rather than, fall over and get battered and bruised by it. And, there are energies that will come and, pretend that they're angelic, or they'll pretend that there's some species that are, from another dimension, which is great. They do exist, but they're not always as they say they are. They're what's known as shapeshifters, and they'll get into your energy field. They'll mess with you.
Yeah.
You'll start to realize that, oh, actually, I don't feel so good now. My life has changed, not for the better. I'm freaking people out, or I don't feel well, or this energy is telling me things that I don't want to do, telling me to do things that I don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You
not,
know,
not not things that you don't want to do from a point of view of you have to take responsibility and you don't want to, but things that are off, right? Something is sus. It's not
yeah,
doesn't feel
yeah.
right.
I met a guy who had a being that had attached to him that told him to go off into the jungle and drink cleaning fluid. And it completely messed up his gut.
Yeah.
He had a terrible experience with it. But that was because his energy was so open.
Yeah.
He took this energy and he'd been into plant medicine, right? But taking a lot of it, just lost his grip with reality and ended up like really, really harming himself, thinking that, he had to ingest this fluid to alter a reality for humanity that was like life-saving, when really it was, a very demonic energy that was consuming his life force.
Yeah.
But I mean that was an extreme case, and that person needed a lot of help. But there are subtler versions where people just, you call on your guides, your angels, your ascended masters. I always say to people, like, picture the sun that's connected to the stars and a great central sun, Solaris, and call your beings in through that. But first of all, go into your heart. Like, go into love, go into gratitude, go into all of those beautiful feelings that you have inside and connect from that place.
Yeah,
Rather than I want
absolutely.
to be this. Oh, I'm having a psychic experience. That's great. But you want to go in from your heart.
You touched on plant medicine briefly, and we were speaking about sort of breeding grounds for things like this, and the not the do's and the don'ts, but just having your wits about you when you engage with mind altering anything.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit on that, on like what you, and it's not a don't ever do it. It's just if you're going to engage with something like this, maybe consider the following.
Well, consider the environment, like where you are. Are you in a place where you feel safe? Are you in nature? Or are you in a room with a bunch of people who are intoxicated, or just with a bunch of people doing the same thing, but you've never met them before? You don't know what energies they're carrying, right? Because when you do plant medicine, your energy field opens. And what happens is when, okay, so say if you have got beings that you are connected with and you know who they are and you trust them and they're working with you, they may have known you before you went through the veil of illusion for many lifetimes, and they can often know you better than you remember, right? Now, when you take plant medicine, you go through a portal, you go through a gateway, and there are beings with that plant medicine that work with that plant medicine. They don't necessarily know you as well. So they can give you information that's beyond your capacity to safely digest and use and move forwards with, or they can push you beyond your breaking point. So it becomes a bit too much and you feel a little bit battered and bruised, because they don't know you. It's as simple as that. And until that medicine is worn off, you're open until it's worn off. Now, there are other energies and entities that are aware of that, and it's like fast food. They're waiting for these open books to arrive so that they can get right in at the seams. They can get so deep into the DNA, because your DNA opens when your field opens, right? And it stays open until the effects of that medicine is worn off. So they can get right in there and do what they want. And then your energy closes. And it's very difficult. It's like it becomes very sticky for people that work with energy to try and get that energy out for you. It's a big, like, be careful. It's a big red flag for me for spaces where lots of people are doing plant medicine at the same time, because you don't know what you're walking into. And if you've got a vulnerable, beautiful heart, what are you gonna throw it into a bush of thorns? Because that's what you could potentially be doing. You need to look after it.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do plant medicine, just do it in a safe environment.
Yep.
Do it in a place where you trust. Maybe one person is guiding you, or you're in nature. Yeah. Because outside of that, when it's finished and that portal's closed, your energy field is going to be open for a while. So you become very sensitive. You need to be in a safe environment, not like go straight back into the city. You want to stay in your healthy space for a while.
Yeah.
Your healthy environment, your nature environment. And by nature, your energy opens and closes in spaces that are safe and not safe. But if you do too much of this stuff, then it kind of like expands your energy to a point where you can't really close it. And then you become oversensitive. And then you end up not being able to be in certain spaces. Now, that is not to be confused with someone who is empathic by nature and who is very sensitive. They're going to feel all of that stuff. But that's an invitation for you to learn your tools of protection, of cleansing, of transformation. And that's your reason to do inner work.
Absolutely.
Because that will by nature protect you. Because when you work on your own stuff, when you work on your inner shadows and your doubts and your fears and your worries and your patterns and your programs and things that have been passed down through you, when you clear that stuff, you'll be aware of all of the other things that I've been talking about, but they can't get in. They don't mess with you unless you invite them in.
Yeah. That is so true. You can be so proactive about this. There are really genuinely things that you can do to set yourself up in a more robust way. And you're definitely not saying don't open up, don't connect, don't do plant medicine, don't whatever. But it's like, if you're operating in these realms and if you're a sensitive person, like, equip yourself as best possible so that you can actually, navigated in a safe way. It is actually, yeah, it's about safety. It's a self-preservation in the best way. And
Yeah.
I mean, we usually go ahead, yeah.
And also, if you abuse something, it will abuse you. So, I mean, you can have too much of anything. You can drink too much water and it's not good for you. You know, if you breathe too much air, you'll have, you know, and maybe an unexpected out of body experience that, you know, and your body has something that goes into like tetany where it starts cramping. And, you know, that's okay in an environment where people are educated and they know what they're doing, as guides to help you. But yeah, too much of anything is not good for you.
100%.
If you abuse it, it will abuse you. It's just it's a valuable thing to know. If you abuse something, it will abuse you. If you take too much of anything, it will abuse you. You must respect what you ingest, where you go, what you do, who you meet. It's a basic and fundamental tool to get on in life and in nature.
No exceptions. You can think you can outsmart it, but it'll come for you.
Yeah, it's a universal and cosmic like law as well, you know. And when I talk about law, I'm not talking about things that have been put in place by people in power. It's a law of order, how things work, how they function. You know, play with fire, you get burnt. It's quite simple. You know, you need to respect it, respect the elements. Otherwise, they burn you. Too much water will, you know, will overwhelm you. You'll drown in it. You know, you have to find harmony and balance in all of these things. But this is, as I said, this is why I work with the elements, because they're what nature is made up of, and they teach you everything you need to know if you observe them.
Yeah.
And yes, there are beings that are, you know, that come through nature, but it's how you connect with them that matters.
What we usually do when we have these discussions is we sort of also link it to, usually at the end we sort of link it to, and this is if this helps for you, this resonates with you, if you're looking for this, we link it to this offering or a certain thing that you're working with. But this is actually, I think we can throw it in here right in the middle, because everything that you're saying are things that you've designed a training for. You've literally created a course for this purpose, to navigate these realms. And it's a natural bridge to make, I would say. But we've mentioned it in last week's and the weeks before briefly, but these tools that we talked about, it's not so mysterious. You can be taught by someone who has gone through it years and years and years and years, has made the mistakes, has come out on the other side, and has the embodied experience. So that's a big opportunity coming up soon.
And that's the reason why I've put it together, is because, you know, just because I've gone through these things, it doesn't mean you have to. And also, you know, that just, you know, don't waste time. Just go with the highest and greatest vibrations of XYZ. And I've put this course together because I don't want people to get misguided and misled by mischievous, devious, manipulating, vampiric, parasitic energies. Like human beings are beautiful beings, and you know, we're incredible creatures, and there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world, and I'm one of the people that help people to free themselves from that and to raise the vibration, because that's my job, that's my life purpose, and that's why I was born. And that's also why I went through some pretty harsh trainings, from, you know, trying to run before I could walk. I learned the hard way. I also learned a lot of easy, you know, beautiful things as well. So that's that's why I teach, and that's why I've included this in part of the training. There's also, you know, working on the inner child. There's also like releasing ancestral karma. You know, there's also like working and transforming aspects of your ego. You know, there's it's a foundation of everything you need to know to enhance your essential being, you know, and to work with your divine nature, your purest nature.
Yeah.
And to make healthy connections.
And the transmission that comes through when you learn this live with you. So this is a thing where a training is called a course in transformation, and it's a live training with you. It's different from these videos. Of course, these videos are very valuable, and we make them because you wanted to get it to maximum amount of people, and the messages that you're sharing here are valuable too. But if you're actually in a training with someone, you have the ability to pick up what's in the room. Where do you need to go a little bit deeper? What do you need to, you know, not focus on? What, you know, where are the people at? So it's very, it's in a completely different depth.
Yeah, your life experience becomes the course material.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, you apply it to yourself as we go through the trainings, you know, and there are questions, there are answers, you know, I work with you specifically for you. It's not something that's generic that is put out for everybody. It's for the, you know, we spend time working with individual states of being and transforming that, you know, it's all incorporated in the training. So it's very much it's about your life being your teacher. And I guide you through that and how to use specific tools and adapt those tools to your own personal experience so that you can learn the tools of transformation that enhance your life.
And I know that it's also important to you that the right people are in the training. So it's for people who have already taken a level of responsibility, or they're already at the point in their journey where they know that they are the common denominator, you know, that what's happening in their lives is as a result of, you know, the internal and the external are inextricably linked. So I think
it's not for it's not for absolute beginners. It's for people who have a level of awareness where they want to actually take that further and deeper. You know, if you're an absolute beginner, then, you know, I suggest that you have sessions, you get treatments, and you know, you harness the way that your energy operates. Some people feel, and that's their doorway in. Some people see, that's their doorway in. Some people hear things, and that's their doorway in. You know, it's important that you get you harness that first before you work with the material that I'm sharing with you, because you know, it's not about I want to see, but I feel, but I want to see. Well, you feel, that's your gateway in, and start learning how to work with that, and it takes you on to, you know, and into other places. Like, start doing your inner work first. So I would have sessions and then have trainings. You don't necessarily have to have had sessions with me, but you do need to have started on your path of inner work and self-discovery.
Many ways to get there. I also know that you're offering till the end of August. You've still got a few bundles available where you're doing 3 sessions with people. So that's, if you're listening to this and you think, I'd love to attend one of these trainings, but September is going to be too soon, or I'm not there yet, maybe look into doing a session with Shakti, or 3. They're at the moment, they're, you know, in a combination.
Bundles of 3.
Well, we're writing everything that we say, we'll write below as well. But yes, it also doesn't help to enter into something if you're not ready for it. But I get the feeling that most of the people who listen to these are in this world are already on this kind of a page. And if you're unsure where you are, book a short call with Shakti. I know you're doing these 15-minute discovery calls
Yeah, discovery
now, and
calls.
you can feel it out together. Like, is this
Yeah,
the right step for me right now? And Shakti's a high integrity person. If it's not, she's not gonna say yes. So you're gonna get your answer in that call from both sides. So I think
yeah.
really a beautiful opportunity also to just feel it out. Like, you're intrigued? Is it the right moment? Is it not? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very, very valuable. We've already covered quite a lot. How, we talked about losing grip on reality. We talked about like safe spaces, places where these things fester, tricksters. We've covered quite a spectrum already. Is there something else that feels like it needs to come through today about this topic that you can think of right now?
There's always things that will probably come through later.
Yeah.
It's always one of the, it's good because again, it's a huge topic and it's probably something that I'll add to at a later date. But right now, you know, if anything, there are other telltale signs to know that, you might be connecting to an energy that's not got your best interests at heart, as they want something from you. Sometimes you can, all of a sudden, you just start getting sick all the time. You can have shifts in your personality where your personality just all of a sudden changes. You don't feel yourself anymore. Your intuition tells you that something's not right. You get a feeling, or you start getting weird pains in your body, um, headaches, all these kinds of things can be like terrible nightmares, that kind of stuff. All these kind of things can be signs that something's not quite right. They can also be signs that trauma's coming up and things like this, but this is why it's important to investigate.
Mm.
So that you can, one of the things that people ask me a lot is, how do I differentiate between what is like esoteric and beautiful, and and what I'm perceiving as real, and what is coming from my ego? Like, this is the kind of stuff that I help people to work out.
Yeah, and you also make a lot of create a lot of content on that. Like on your Instagram at
Mm,
the moment, there's lots of these little short condensed teachings. I mean, this is obviously like a longer format, um, going into the depth, and then the training is at a completely different level. But if you're not yet following Shakti's Instagram, she puts regular little, like, this is your ego, this is your soul, this is fear, this is that, these kind of little things. There's so much that you're giving freely in terms of information. So that would be another place you can look. If you're not ready to invest, just freely look into all the information that's going out there. There's so much,
yeah.
so much that you've accumulated over the years to share. So.
Yeah. But that's
And
it now.
we always say questions, thoughts, opinions, agreements, disagreements. Those are very welcome here. Comment them or
Mm.
email.
Yeah, that's questions.
It's nice to get input and to hear what people want more of or want to go deeper into. That's very, very helpful. So that's definitely very welcome for anybody listening.
Mm. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank you.
thanks for your wisdom and knowledge, Shakti, and goodbye.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Megan. And I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.